Born to Run, A Hidden Tribe, Superathletes, and the Greatest Race the World Has Never Seen, by Christopher McDougall. Have you ever felt that sharp, stabbing pain in your foot when you run? That feeling like an invisible ice pick is driving right up through your heel? It's a feeling many runners know all too well. It's the kind of pain that sends you to doctors, specialists, shoe stores, searching for answers, for relief. Our author today, Christopher McDougall, certainly knew it. He was a runner, not a professional. Just someone who enjoyed moving. But his body seemed determined to stop him. Injury after injury plagued him. Ripped hamstrings, aching Achilles, sore ankles, painful arches. The experts told him the same thing. Running is your problem. Maybe, they suggested, the human body just isn't designed for that kind of pounding. Maybe his body certainly wasn't. It's a strange puzzle, isn't it? We see gazelles effortlessly outpacing lions, wolves loping tirelessly across snowy plains. They don't seem to need fancy shoes or orthotics. Why us? Why do up to 80% of modern runners get injured every single year, despite billions spent on shoe technology? Why does an activity that feels so primal, so essential, hurt so many of us? This simple, frustrating question, how come my foot hurts, sent Christopher McDougall on an extraordinary journey, a quest that took him deep into the treacherous copper canyons of Mexico, chasing whispers of a hidden tribe known as the Tarahumara, or the Tarahumaras, the running people. These were people, legend said, who could run literally hundreds of miles without rest, without injury, wearing nothing but thin, homemade sandals, fueled by ancient foods and an incredible joy for movement. They seemed to hold secrets not just about running, but about health, happiness, and endurance that the modern world had long forgotten. McDougall's book, Born to Run, became an instant classic, a global phenomenon that sold millions of copies and ignited a revolution in how we think about running and footwear. It's more than just a running book. It's an adventure story, a scientific detective yarn, and a profound exploration of human potential. It takes us from the high-tech labs of Harvard to the sun-scorched trails of Mexico, introduces us to unforgettable characters, reclusive superathletes, a mysterious American hermit called Caballo Blanco, obsessive scientists, and some of the world's most extreme ultramarathoners. Today, we're going to journey alongside McDougall. We'll explore the secrets of the Tarahumara, question everything we thought we knew about running shoes, and uncover the startling scientific evidence suggesting that maybe, just maybe, we were all born to run. By the end of our time together, you might just find the answer to why your foot hurts, and more importantly, how you can rediscover the joy and freedom of running pain-free, just as our ancestors did. Are you ready? Let's begin. Book summary. Approximately 10,000 words. Shift into storytelling mode. Warm, engaging, slightly adventurous. Our story starts, as so many good stories do, with pain. Christopher McDougall, like countless runners, found himself trapped in a cycle of injury. Every attempt to embrace running, to maybe even train for a marathon, ended the same way. Sidelined, frustrated, nursing yet another ache. Doctors offered little hope, suggesting expensive orthotics, cortisone shots, or simply giving up. Buy a bike, one specialist bluntly advised. It seemed running, for a bigger guy like him, was simply asking for trouble. But McDougall couldn't shake a nagging feeling. Why should humans be the only mammals seemingly broken by their own natural movement? Antelopes don't get shin splints. Wolves don't ice their knees. There was something deeply unsatisfying about the modern running experience. The constant fear of injury, the reliance on ever more expensive, high-tech shoes that didn't seem to fix the problem. He remembered reading John Irving's The World According to Garp and being struck by Garp's spontaneous midday runs, that primal urge to just burst out the door and move, whether escaping fear or embracing pleasure. He wanted that feeling, not the constant worry and pain. His quest for answers led him through specialists, biomechanics labs filming his clumsy stride, and confusing scientific literature. Everyone agreed running was hard on the body, but no one could truly explain why it had to be, or why some people, like the legendary Roger Bannister, could run incredibly fast in thin slippers without getting hurt. Then, on assignment in Mexico, a photograph in a travel magazine caught his eye. It showed a man, robed and sandaled, sprinting down a rocky mountainside. The caption spoke of the Tarahumara, a hidden tribe living deep within the remote and formidable copper canyons, the Barrancas del Cobre. These people, the article claimed, were perhaps the healthiest, happiest, and greatest distance runners the world had ever known. They lived lives untouched by modern diseases: no heart disease, no cancer, no diabetes, no obesity. 50-year-olds could outrun teenagers. They settled disputes not with violence, but with epic, multi-day foot races. Legends told of them running down deer until the animals collapsed from exhaustion, covering distances that seemed utterly superhuman. One champion reportedly ran 435 miles in a single effort. That's like jogging from New York City almost to Detroit. And how did they achieve these incredible feats? Not through rigorous training schedules or high-tech gear. They ran in simple, flat sandals called huaraches, often made from discarded tires. Their diet was astonishingly basic, mostly ground corn, known as pinole, beans, squash, and the occasional barbecued mouse. They enjoyed their corned beer, tezcano, frequently and heartily. They didn't stretch or warm up. They simply gathered, laughed, and ran. They possessed secret recipes, like isquiet, a potent energy drink made from chia seeds, that fueled their all-day runs. The paradox was maddening. How could these people, living a Stone Age existence, running far more miles on far rougher terrain in the flimsiest of footwear, be virtually injury-free, while modern runners, coddled in cushioned shoes, were constantly breaking down? The Tarahumara seemed to defy everything modern sports science preached. Were they genetic freaks? Or had they preserved a secret, an ancient way of moving, that the rest of the world had lost? McDougall became obsessed. He had to find them, learn from them. But the Tarahumara, whose real name is the Raramuri, meaning running people, were masters of invisibility. For centuries, they had retreated deeper and deeper into the canyons, fleeing Spanish conquistadors, miners, missionaries, even Pancho Villa's revolutionaries. They lived in caves high on cliffs or in camouflaged huts, preferring isolation even from each other. Finding them would be like hunting ghosts. His first lead pointed towards a phantom known as Caballo Blanco, the white horse. He was rumored to be an American, a gringo, who had disappeared into the canyons years ago and earned the trust of the Tarahumara, living among them, running with them. If anyone could unlock the secrets of the running people, McDougall was told, it was Caballo. The search for Caballo Blanco reads like a detective story set in a landscape both beautiful and deadly. The Copper Canyons are a maze of gorges deeper than the Grand Canyon, a place known for swallowing outsiders. Jaguars, snakes, blistering heat, and a disorienting canyon fever that drove prospectors mad were just some of the dangers. Added to this was the modern threat of rival drug cartels using the remote canyons as their base. McDougall, accompanied by a local guide and mariachi singer named Salvador Alguin, navigated treacherous dirt tracks, had a nerve-wracking encounter with suspected narcotraficantes, got thoroughly lost, and eventually hiked deep into the canyon bottom. But it was during this trip, while speaking with Angel Nava Lopez, a school teacher in a remote canyon settlement, that the legend of Caballo Blanco came alive. Angel recounted the story of Caballo's first appearance years earlier, a tall, pale, near-naked figure running through the mountains, initially mistaken by local children for a ghost or a soul of the dead collecting its earthly traces. Caballo, whose real name turned out to be Micah True, had slowly, patiently integrated himself into the Tarahumara world. He lived simply in a self-built hut, ran vast distances wearing only sandals and shorts, and survived partly through Koroma, the Tarahumara principle of sharing and mutual obligation. He respected their ways, perhaps even more than some Tarahumara who were being tempted by the encroaching modern world, like the cautionary tale of the village of Yerba Buena, where a new road brought processed foods and wage labor, and within 20 years, the running tradition had vanished. Before leaving the canyons that first time, McDougall witnessed something magical. a group of Tarahumara schoolchildren playing Rarajipari, their traditional running game. They kicked small wooden balls for miles, their movements fluid, joyful, seemingly effortless. He saw young Marcelino, son of the great champion Manuel Luna, running with breathtaking grace. And crucially, Marcelino confirmed Caballo Blanco was real, and a friend of his father's. The white horse wasn't just a myth. McDougall finally tracked Caballo down in the dusty border town of Creel. He found not a fearsome fugitive, but a lean, weathered, intensely talkative man, initially wary but hungry for conversation. Over bowls of beans in a hidden back alley eatery, Caballo began to share his story. He spoke of his past as a fighter, the gypsy cowboy. He talked about how he'd first encountered the Tarahumara years earlier, not in the canyons, but in Leadville, Colorado. This brings us to another fascinating thread in the book: the brief, explosive intersection of the Tarahumara with the world of American ultra-running in the early 1990s. An adventurous Arizona photographer named Rick Fisher, nicknamed the Pescador by the Tarahumara, had the idea of bringing these legendary runners to compete in American ultramarathons, specifically the notoriously difficult Leadville Trail 100. Leadville is a beast of a race, 100 miles through the Rocky Mountains at altitudes starting over 10,000 feet, featuring brutal climbs and descents. It was created by Ken Kluber, a tough-as-nails miner trying to save his town after the local mine shut down. The race motto perfectly captures its spirit: "You're tougher than you think you are, and you can do more than you think you can." Fisher's first attempt in 1992 was a disaster. The Tarahumara runners, unfamiliar with aid stations, flashlights, and ill-fitting modern sneakers provided by Fisher, all dropped out. But Fisher, persistent and perhaps a bit obsessed, tried again in 1993, this time recruiting more traditional runners from deeper in the canyons. This team, running in their homemade tire sandals, stunned everyone. 55-year-old Victoriano Churro came from the back of the pack to win the race, with 40-something Cirildo Chacarito finishing second. Manuel Luna, Marcelino's father, finished fifth despite his sandals disintegrating. They weren't just fast, they ran with a startling ease and joy that baffled the hardened American ultrarunners. The 1994 Leadville race became legendary. The media hype centered on a battle of the sexes. Could the Tarahumara defend their title against Ann Trassen, the dominant female ultra-runner of the era? Fisher, feeling the pressure, bizarrely stoked the flames by claiming the Tarahumara considered it shameful to lose to a woman, something completely counter to their actual egalitarian culture. Ann Trassen was a force of nature, a science teacher who discovered an almost superhuman capacity for endurance. She ran with fierce intensity, viewing fatigue as the beast to be tamed and conquered. The race itself was epic. Ann Trassen employed a daring strategy, taking the lead early, forcing the Tarahumara to hunt her down. Her Queen's Gambit. She led for much of the race, pushing a record-shattering pace. Two new Tarahumara runners recruited by Fisher, the poncho-clad Juan Herrera and his mentor Martimano Cervantes, relentlessly pursued her. Ann taunted Martimano at an aid station, adding psychological warfare to the physical battle. Juan Herrera eventually caught Ann in the final miles, running past her with such apparent ease that it momentarily crushed her spirit. Juan won, smashing the course record, with Ann finishing second, also obliterating the previous women's record. Martimano, despite knee trouble he attributed to Ann's witchcraft, finished third. The Tarahumara took 5 of the top 7 spots. It should have been a moment of triumph, a bridge between two worlds. But it dissolved into bitterness. Rick Fisher clashed angrily with race organizers and sponsors like Rockport Shoes, making accusations of conspiracy and exploitation. The Tarahumara, witnessing this Shabochi squabbling, quietly retreated back to their canyons, never to return to Leadville. And it was during that chaotic 1994 race that Micah True, then just a long-haired runner helping pace Martimano Cervantes, he was the shaggy goofball, felt a profound connection to the Tarahumara and disgust at how they were treated. He followed them back to Mexico, delivering donated coats, and eventually found his own place deep in the canyons, transforming himself into Caballo Blanco. He shed his modern running shoes, adopted the Tarahumara sandals and diet, and remarkably, the injuries that had plagued him for years vanished. He learned to run easy, light, smooth, and fast. He found not just physical healing, but a sense of purpose and peace he'd never known. Now, Caballo explained his audacious plan to McDougall. He wanted to reignite the magic of Leadville, but on Tarahumara terms. He dreamed of organizing a secret, 50-mile race deep in the Copper Canyons, pitting the best of the new generation of American ultra-runners, the young guns, against the legendary Tarahumara champions like Arnulfo Quimera. He'd already reached out to Scott Jurek, the reigning king of American ultra-running, a 7-time Western States champion known for his incredible endurance, vegan diet, and surprising humility. Jurek, it turned out, revered the Tarahumara. Maybe, just maybe, this impossible race could happen. This is where the book shifts gears again, becoming McDougall's personal story of transformation. Inspired by Caballo and the Tarahumara, he decides he doesn't just want to write about this race, he wants to run it. But first, he needs to fix his broken running body. This leads him to explore the burgeoning science that challenges the entire foundation of the modern running shoe industry. He delves into the work of Dr. Daniel Lieberman at Harvard and Dr. Dennis Bramble at the University of Utah, pioneers of the born-to-run theory of human evolution. Their research presents a compelling case. Humans didn't just evolve to walk upright. We evolved to run long distances. We are, in essence, the greatest endurance runners on the planet. How? Unlike other mammals whose breathing is locked to their stride, we can breathe independently, allowing flexible pacing. We cool ourselves primarily through sweating, millions of glands acting like a radiator, allowing us to run in heat that would kill other animals. Our Achilles tendons and foot arches act like springs, storing and returning energy with each step, making distance running incredibly efficient. Our large gluteus maximus muscles stabilize us. Even our lack of body hair and upright posture help dissipate heat. Why did we evolve these traits? The likely answer is persistence hunting. For nearly 2 million years, before bows and arrows, our ancestors likely hunted by simply running animals down, chasing them relentlessly, often in the midday heat, until the prey collapsed from exhaustion and hyperthermia. Louis Liebenberg, a South African mathematician, actually documented modern persistence hunts with Kalahari Bushmen, proving it was not just a theory but a practice that required incredible tracking skill, teamwork, and endurance. Running wasn't just something we could do. It was fundamental to our survival and shaped our very bodies and perhaps even our minds, fostering cooperation and complex thinking. This ability lasts remarkably long. Bramble's research shows a 64-year-old runner can be as fast as they were at 19. We are truly built to run, and to run throughout our lives. So why the injuries? The book points a finger squarely at modern running shoes. The excessive cushioning, it argues, encourages a heavy, unnatural heel strike, sending impact shock up the leg. It weakens the intricate structure of the foot, preventing muscles and tendons from doing their natural shock-absorbing work. Shoes block the pain signals that would otherwise teach us to run lightly and efficiently. Studies cited in the book even suggest that expensive, feature-laden shoes correlate with higher injury rates than cheap, simple ones. The minimalist approach? Running barefoot or in thin, flexible shoes like the Tarahumaras huaraches, allows the foot to function as it was designed, strengthening it and promoting a lighter, midfoot or forefoot strike that utilizes the body's natural suspension system. Nike's own research, spurred by barefoot training college athletes, seemed to confirm this, leading to the development of their minimalist free line. The final act of the book converges on Caballo Blanco's legendary race. McDougall gathers with the Moss Locos, Scott Jurek, the wild young duo Jen Shelton and Billy Barnett, the eccentric barefoot Ted with his Vibram 5 fingers, Coach Eric Orton, photographer Luis Escobar, and his father. They make the perilous journey into the canyons, facing logistical nightmares, personality clashes, especially Caballo versus Ted, and a harrowing near disaster when Jen and Billy get lost and dehydrated during a warm-up run. The race day arrives with fiesta energy in the tiny village of Urake. The course is brutal, a 50-mile loop with punishing climbs and descents in searing heat. The race unfolds like a drama. The local Urake Tarahumara team tries to cheat by taking shortcuts and are disqualified. Jen Shelton runs fearlessly, battling the lead Tarahumara men, takes a nasty fall, but recovers to finish as the first woman and 6th overall. Scott Jurek engages in a strategic duel with Arnulfo and Silvino. He runs Silvino down but encourages him to keep pace. Arnulfo proves unbeatable on his home turf, holding off Scott's final surge to win. Scott finishes a close second, bowing graciously to Arnulfo in a display of respect that electrifies the crowd. McDougal himself, the formerly broken runner, endures the grueling course, finishing last but finishing nonetheless, running the final miles alongside Caballo Blanco. The finish line isn't just an end, but a celebration of shared effort, camaraderie, and the sheer joy of running. The faster runners wait for the slower ones, cheering them in. The cultural barriers dissolve in exhaustion and mutual respect. In the aftermath, Caballo finally shares his own full story. His journey from boxer Mike Hickman to Micah True, the cave-dwelling hermit in Hawaii, his relationship heartbreak, his eventual flight to the Copper Canyon seeking not just escape, but redemption and a truer way of living. His race was more than a competition. It was an act of connection, a way to share the Tarahumaras' gift with the world, and perhaps heal some part of himself. He refuses corporate sponsorship, determined to keep the run pure, a gathering of friends united by the simple love of movement. Commentary: approximately 1,000 words. Reflective, summarizing the core message, offering takeaways. So, what do we take away from this incredible journey? Born to Run is one of those rare books that fundamentally shifts your perspective. On the surface, it's about running, but beneath that, it taps into something much deeper about human nature, about health, happiness, and our connection to the past. The most immediate and perhaps controversial takeaway is the challenge to the modern running shoe. McDougall, through compelling stories and emerging science, makes a powerful case that our heavily cushioned, overly supportive shoes might be hurting us more than helping. By numbing our feet and encouraging an unnatural heel strike, they disconnect us from the ground and disable our body's own brilliant shock-absorbing system. The Tarahumara, running effortlessly in minimalist sandals, aren't superhuman. They're simply human, utilizing the incredible engineering we were all born with. This idea has sparked a huge movement towards minimalist footwear and barefoot running, encouraging people to strengthen their feet and rediscover a more natural stride. It suggests that maybe the solution to running injuries isn't more technology, but less. But the book goes far beyond footwear. It reminds us that running, at its core, isn't supposed to be a chore or a punishment. For the Tarahumara, and for figures like the joyful Emil Zatopek, running is play, it's community, it's celebration, it's freedom. It's woven into the fabric of their lives. Coach Joe Vigil's insight rings true. Perhaps the decline in modern distance running, and maybe even some of our modern malaise, stems from losing that connection, from turning running into a business transaction. Trading miles for medals, weight loss, or bragging rights, instead of embracing it as an art form, an expression of vitality. The Tarahumara run not to win prizes, but to connect with each other and the earth. Scott Jurek, despite being a champion, embodies this spirit by waiting hours at the finish line to cheer the last runner home. The evolutionary science presented is fascinating. The idea that our bodies were meticulously shaped by millions of years of endurance running reframes exercise not as an optional add-on for health, but as a fundamental human need. When we deny that need, when we embrace sedentarism, our bodies and minds suffer, leading to the chronic diseases that plague modern society. The Tarahumara, living active lives on a simple, plant-based diet, offer a living testament to this connection between movement, food, and health. Ultimately, Born to Run is a story of hope and potential. It tells us that the crippling injuries many runners face aren't inevitable. It suggests that endurance isn't just for elite athletes, but is our shared human birthright, accessible well into old age. It paints a picture of running not as solitary suffering, but as a joyful, communal activity that can foster connection and well-being. Caballo Blanco's dream race wasn't just about speed. It was about bringing different worlds together through the universal language of running. So, how can you apply these lessons today? First, pay attention to your feet. Try walking barefoot on safe surfaces like grass or sand. Feel how your foot moves, how it grips the ground. Maybe explore minimalist shoes gradually, allowing your feet to strengthen naturally. Second, think about your form. Run tall, take light, quick steps aiming for that 180 steps per minute cadence can help, and try to land with your foot underneath your body, not way out in front striking with your heel. Hills are great teachers for this. Third, find the joy. Mix up your routine. Run trails if you can. Run with friends. Leave the watch behind sometimes. Focus on the feeling of movement, the connection with your surroundings, rather than just pace or distance. Remember what Eric Orton said? If it feels like work, you're working too hard. Run easy to run far. Fourth, consider your fuel. Look at the Tarahumara diet. Simple, whole foods, mostly plants. You don't have to eat barbecued mice, but incorporating things like beans, corn, squash, and maybe even chia seeds could make a difference. Born to Run is an invitation to question assumptions, to explore our own capabilities, and to rediscover the simple, powerful joy of putting one foot in front of the other. It suggests that the ability to run long and run well isn't a rare gift, but a hidden talent waiting within each of us. That was our exploration of Born to Run by Christopher McDougall. We've journeyed through the canyons, met incredible athletes, and uncovered some startling science today. But honestly, a summary like this is just scratching the surface. The real heart of this book lies in the full tapestry of stories, the unforgettable characters like Caballo Blanco, and the sheer adventure McDougall recounts. If the idea of running pain-free, tapping into ancient human strength, or just reading a thrilling story resonates with you, I wholeheartedly encourage you to pick up a copy. Reading it isn't just absorbing information. It's an experience that might genuinely change how you move through the world. You can find a link to the book in the description below. And if you found value in our journey together today, please do give this recording a like and consider subscribing to the channel. We delve into transformative books like this regularly, aiming to extract wisdom that helps us all live richer, more informed lives. Your support helps us continue sharing these powerful ideas. Let's keep learning and growing together.